Gambia and Turkey to boost security relations following bilateral talks in Ankara. And Nigeria's inflation rate hits high in 4 years thanks to the global economic crisis. These and more coming your way on News Desk. Hello, this is Africa TV and many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante and now the news in detail. Now, Gambia and Turkey have on Wednesday signed a new military cooperation agreement after further negotiations between the two countries. The two friendly nations will be cooperating in the fields of military training and mechanism as part of agreement signed in Turkey's capital Ankara. Turkey has been one of the Gambia's leading partners in the security sector since 1991. Here's more details of that in this report.
Turkey's defense chief welcomed his Gambian counterpart with a guard of honor on Wednesday. Turkey's Hulusi Akar and Gambia's Sheikh Omar Faye held a one-on-one meeting before interdelegation talks, according to the Turkish National Defense Ministry. Turkey's Chief of General Staff, General Yaska Gola, and Gambia's Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Yakuba Drame, also attended the meetings. During the meetings, the two parties exchanged views on bilateral and regional security, defense issues, and cooperation opportunities in the defense industry. Turkey has been one of Gambia's leading partners in the security sector since 1991. Cooperation agreement in the field of military training has been the driving force behind the 56-year-old relations between the two countries. Bilateral relations between Gambia and Turkey, which were initially exchanged exclusively in military domain, as well as at the international fora, such as the United Nations and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, have become more comprehensive and multifaceted after the opening of the embassies in Banjul and Ankara in 2011. On the basis of friendly and fraternal relations existing between the two countries, many bilateral agreements, protocols, and memorandums of understanding have been signed. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amadou Kante.
Gambia and Turkey vows to improve security relations after the two countries held talks in Ankara. Now to Zimbabwe next, because the Zimbabwean government is projecting a significant increase in the country's mining revenue by the year 2023, despite some hindrances in the mining industry. The Southern Africa country needs to initiate new mining policies to widen the investment climate to boost production, experts say. Let's have more details of that in this report.
2020 performance of 3 out of 5 key minerals has given officials reason to believe they can grow mining revenue from $4 billion per annum to $12 billion by 2023. Production of platinum, diamonds and coal were all up from 2019 levels. New mines, notably the country's largest platinum project, Great Dyke Investments, are progressing well and will boost growth.
This is coming to production very soon because construction is actually taking place, and it will come to full throttle in 2023, and this is a 2023 vision, so that coincides, and if that happens, then we are going to be able to double the platinum industry if this GDI comes into operation.
But chrome and gold underperformed. Deliveries of the latter have retrogressed because of several mine closures and smuggling, which has increased due to low producer prices being offered by the central bank.
We need to, to incentivize exploration, especially in the gold sector. There hasn't been any exploration, both brownfield and greenfield. Then we also need to capacitate the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development in terms of its ability to render technical support to the mining industry.
Government has been urged to expedite new mining legislation and to accelerate reforms to improve the investment climate.
We need to complete what needs to be completed in terms of framework, be it legal framework, policy framework, regulatory framework. Those things need to be completed. Otherwise, we are wasting our time. We need to make the mining industry in Zimbabwe competitive, comparing to other mining jurisdictions. You are looking at pricing. You are looking at the fiscal regime. You are looking at ease of doing business. And then the last thing is stability. We have had, inconsistencies in the past. Sudden changes that affect, investor perceptions. Those things need to be addressed.
The launch of the US dollar-denominated Victoria Falls Stock Exchange is seen helping mining houses raise investment capital.
Zimbabwe, now we report on matters of the COVID-19. On the 17th of March 2020 was the day when the Gambia registered its first case of the deadly coronavirus, which caused a devastating impact on the world. The pandemic has stressed every country it touches, with a huge impact on social, economic and political effects. The CISE has more details of that in this report.
The one-year anniversary of the virus presence in the Gambia is fully remembered as turning point to people's freedom in how they relate to one another. As in the case worldwide, COVID-19 served as a threat to lives, in addition to the creation of barriers among people no matter how close they are related. 1 year ago, the first case of the novel coronavirus in the Gambia was confirmed on a traveler from the United Kingdom by the Medical Research Council in Banjul. Since then, public and private activities have been in consideration of safety measures in view of the virus. Health workers remained in the forefront in the fight against the pandemic. As the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, reflects on the journey 1 year on, the country has come a long way.
We can all agree that we've come a long way. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to deal with COVID-19 the way we did so. There have been challenges. It's never been perfect. But I think the team and the partners did very well.
The pandemic has, among other things, disrupted access to life-saving, sexual and reproductive health services in many countries. Although the country continues to receive support from the WHO and the outside world, there is still more to be done.
We've learned quite a lot about it now, but there is still a lot that we do not know about COVID-19, and information and knowledge is being gathered as we speak. But as he rightly said, there are public health strategies that go for every public health emergency, where there's COVID-19, where there's Ebola, where there's any other public health emergency, that are used as guidelines for people to stay safe. And those guidelines were put in place from the onset. And I believe following those guidelines have helped this country a whole lot.
The first COVID-19 related death in the Gambia took place on the 23rd of March 2020, during its peak period in the West African state. Many sectors were unavoidably shut to prevent a serious rise in the number of infections. The tourism industry was among the affected areas by the pandemic, causing a nationwide economic downturn. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
March 17, 2021 marks 1 year since Gambia registered its first case of the coronavirus pandemic. And there's more news coming ahead, but for now we'll take a break and come back shortly with the remainder of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and now we look at the rest of the stories. Now, Nigeria is witnessing its highest inflation rate in 4 years, which have impacted on the lives of the Nigerians. Now, the West African country is also dealing with the economic impact of the COVID-19 and also food insecurity, largely due to the weak fiscal policies, according to experts. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Nigeria's inflation has been rising steadily over the last 3 years. The nation's Bureau of Statistics puts the latest figure at 17.33%, a 0.86% increase from the previous rate. The last time the nation recorded an inflation rate this high was in February 2017 at 17.78%.
The current inflation rate of Nigeria should worry not only Nigerians but worry the whole world, considering the fact that Nigeria is supposed to be the largest economy in Africa. This position is very worrisome because when we look at the inflation rate of other African countries, they are not anywhere near where we are today.
The persistent rise in the Customer Price Index indicates that Nigerians are spending more, reducing the purchasing power of an average consumer.
The continuous rise in inflation is impacting on the citizens negatively, with a deleterious effect on the economy. One, it means that the citizens have to spend more to get to purchase goods and services. That means that Nigerians have to spend more getting little food. That means the issue of food insecurity will be aggravated, and Nigerians will be subjected to more hardship and deprivation.
Food inflation jumped to 21.79% from 20.57%. Insecurity, especially in the country's northern region, has disrupted farming activities. The economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic is still being felt, all backed up by weak fiscal policies.
The level of insecurity in the country is so much that to even the movement of goods from one part of the country to another has become impossible, creating a big gap in the supply chain, and as a result, forcing the prices of goods to go up. And beyond also the issue of insecurity, like we mentioned, is also government policies around foreign exchange, because we also know that most of the goods we consume are imported, and at what rate? At higher dollar rates.
Economic watchers project that inflation could get worse in the coming months if real interventions don't happen soon.
We need to also do everything to ensure that we continue to manufacture locally, because you can see that the manufacturing sector is going down every day, and we need to reactivate the sector so that when we have many areas where factories are established, producing again and producing even up to half of their capacity, we're going to be having enough goods and services for the market. When competition continues to exist, you see that prices will be forced down.
Experts advise government to consolidate on policies that would help strengthen the local currency, the naira, as well as tackle insecurity. This would enable farming communities resume activities, boost local production, and ultimately cut down on imports.
And from that report there in Abuja, Nigeria, finally to South Sudan now, where the international community of the Red Cross has expressed concern over the life-threatening condition in conflict areas in the country. More than 1 million people are displaced due to natural disasters and the long-standing civil war that impeded the country's national development. And let's have more details of that in this report.
The ICRC says food production declined due to the combined impact of conflict and natural disaster. It says unrelenting heavy rains last year resulted in extreme flooding. Some crops were entirely washed away in the eastern and northern parts of the country. More than 1 million people are displaced due to flooding. The ICRC says tens of thousands of families are struggling for survival.
if we have the repeated episodes or the continuation of the conflict, violence, and displacements and insecurity, then definitely this will aggravate the situation.
The ICRC says it is trying to promote dialogue among communities to minimize conflicts and allow farmers to cultivate.
Another rainy season is expected to begin in April, meaning if flooding continues, then more people could be displaced and will be entirely reliant on food aid.
South Sudan's economy is also feeling the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. There is hyperinflation and the government has not been able to pay civil servants for the past 8 months. However, it says it is working to address the situation.
This is actually a time we can tell them that, look, the government with the international community are really caring and have started addressing part of the challenges they are meeting.
The ICRC says it is providing farm tools and seeds to communities where conflicts have reduced, so they transition from depending on aid to producing their own food. But in the short term, tens of thousands are at risk of hunger.
And from the report there in South Sudan, where the International Committee of the Red Cross is expressing concern